had 26 countries represented, 107 people from across 5 different year groups who all went and did their masters at the London School of Economics. My vision was really about bringing them all together, you know, different cohorts, different groups, different characters, different year groups who have come through a program, had built within themselves a sense of community. And they come together to really get to know each other, to have conversation, to bond, to share their experiences, to hear their stories, to talk about the challenges and opportunities.
The answer is just a ha. Keke, keke.
In life, we are constantly listening to what people tell us. This process wants to break that. It's important to listen to what people are telling us, but it's also equally important to listen to what I'm telling myself.
A lot of our history is based on everybody telling us what our leadership is about and that we need to catch up, we don't have time, that the challenges are very urgent. But once in a while, it's nice to be brought into a space, you know, to be told it's okay to be quiet for a moment and to go in and to ask yourself, where are you in your leadership? What is your idea of leadership?
When we say leadership, there is this focus on the leader. And we're talking about the leader all the time. We don't realize that's what we're talking about. But leadership is relationship. It is leader, it is follower, it is the in-between. It is the exchange. It is the interchange, the interaction, the meaning that's created, and ultimately towards a common goal that is often achieved so that it becomes complete.
You'll balance all those 14 nails on top of this one nail. And they should hold themselves. No sellotape, no masking tape, no juju. Prayers are allowed. Just one thing.
The support of the London School of Economics in establishing this program for African leadership has been invaluable to creating a sense of community. But what is more important to us as Africans is now how do we take what we have been given through the generous support of scholarships, of the teacher's time, whatever it is that we've been given, the skills and knowledge and the tools, how do we now take the ownership of the process? How do we take responsibility for it? And so I would envision a program that is based at the LSE and ongoing, but is also centered specifically on the continent. And I think that was a very key takeout on the end of the 3rd day of what the delegates themselves saw as part of their ownership of this process moving on from here.
I came here to share my story of what I'm currently working on in South Africa, and I also seek to achieve and to get feedback from my peers on how I can build the current project I'm working on.
I like the fact that it's not super development focused, and the exercise about introspection is like such a surprise. I didn't expect to see that. Having the unique, opportunity to be an observer and a speaker, it's been really interesting to see how the different elements of the conference, from talks to workshops, have landed with various people, and the conversations especially that happen with the question and answers, and how everything has been coming back to, well, where am I, with various questions, who am I, how I identify, and how that translates to the bigger things we're trying to address, whether it's in the local setting or a global or Pan-African setting. So I think that's been really powerful.
Okay, the comment makes sense, and actually it's much clearer now for me. But I can hear people in the room wanting to respond. Who would like to respond to that? We'll go with there. Okay. So not your comment, but you're responding to hers.
What was great for me in that session was actually at some point I gave up, and what I'm present to now is actually that was probably the most interesting part of the session, because what started happening is, rather than somebody sitting at the front of the room talking about their experiences, and when you hit 52, there are a lot of stories you can tell. But what was more important really was being able to facilitate a conversation between people in their 20s, grappling with the same issue, and they coaching themselves. And I think what's going to happen is at some point this group of people here, if they build the relationships around themselves, they will see themselves 20, 30 years from now as having this huge, wonderful, powerful network of people who are now, commanding or responsible for large resources and responsibilities that impact on large numbers of people. And I think that's what it's about. It's really about finding ways to get people to connect and to connect on a very human, personal level. And the work will follow.
Rather than focus on the problems that we face and the challenges that we face, we try and move forward and ask ourselves, what does the future ask of us? to create a sense of forward thinking or forward looking. What are we going to do together to get there? And who do we need in this room right now to start creating the solutions for where we are at?
There's numerous talents in the continent. There's numerous talents around your community, even in your office. And what stands you out as a leader is how you are able to harness the talents of the people who are around you, so that the system does not reside on the individual, but the system is built around how people can come in even when you're not there. That's why we have a problem with succession in Africa as a whole.
You cannot fix today's problems with the solutions of yesterday. And that discourse is not possible by letting the status quo prevail politically. We need Africa's intelligentsia to relate the imperatives of today with the policy making of today.
My hope and vision for this forum in particular is that it builds a real community across the spaces, whichever countries people are coming from, whatever their age group, that they get a sense of collective shared responsibility. The work that we face ahead as leaders on the continent is a very big work. It's a very difficult task, and we cannot do it alone. We can do it with each other. So building on what has already been established at the London School of Economics, we now have the opportunity to grow it further on the continent. So as leaders are coming into this, their leadership in business, in politics, in community spaces, wherever they may be, they can come together to say, I am here to support you. I am here to work with you. Some may open resources. Others may open just a shared space to reflect and to talk to one another. And others really just a place to stay. That's what we are hoping to establish, a real sense of community that can come together to support each other as we're going forward to change our continent.
What is your name again? Habiba. Umi. Zainab. Saumu. Esha. Aisha. Habiba. Mkona jina mzuri nyinyi wote.